Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Laura and this is my YouTube channel called I Heart Knitting. Today I'm going to be taking you through my 2022 knitting projects. If you looked back to my last video, I showed you everything I knit in 2021, so I thought that I would also share some of my plans and some goals for 2022 with you. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, my handle in most places is I Heart You, spelled E-W-E. So that's the name of my Etsy shop where I sell project bags and other items for knitters. That is also my Instagram handle, and you can find me on Ravelry as I Heart You Knits. So yeah, I have some yarn that I want to show you. I have some plans, and I'm hoping to insert some photos here as well. So that worked out okay with me last time, so I'm going to try again this time and insert some photos of some of the patterns I talk about. Yeah, I don't have set goals like, be finished a pair of socks by the end of every month or have knit this many sweaters or anything like that. Like, I find if I over plan my projects, my year, it just feels too much like work and there's no spontaneity anymore, and it just makes me not want to do it. So I just kind of have some basic plans put together in a place where I can sort of see them all at once. Maybe I'll go over those first and then I'll show you the patterns I have planned. So my goals are I wrote down knit from stash, but like actually do it. So I think that every year I tell myself that my goal is to knit from stash, but this year I'm going to actually try and be really conscious about that. And I have a few sweater quantities of yarn here beside me that I'm going to show you for projects. I would like to knit them up and get them used up before I start stashing more yarn. Going along with that, the other thing I wrote down was only buy yarn with a project in mind. So, instead of just randomly grabbing things, if they're on sale or something like that, I want to actually, buy with a project or, an idea in mind for it. The only kind of exception I gave myself for this is if I'm looking for a souvenir or something like that. If we're traveling, a lot of times we'll go into a yarn shop if we're traveling, and if they have something locally made or something like that, I like to buy that kind of as like a trip souvenir. So we don't travel a ton, so that won't really impact the stash too much, but I do give myself that exception. No more sweater plans until the sweaters I have already yarn stashed for are finished, so that's going to be tough. And then the other thing I want to do is knit with my hand spun. I have a big bin of hand spun that it's just not getting utilized, and it's all these single skeins, random weights, things like that. So that's my plan for this year. Maybe into the fall, I'm actually thinking about just knitting a bunch of it up to sell before like next holiday season. So we'll see about that. But yeah, like that's basically my goals. They're pretty simple. I think that just having these sort of guidelines will help keep me on track. So the sweaters that I want to knit, I have 4 sweaters planned already and yarn for them. Some of it just arrived, some of it I've had for a long time. So I'm going to start with the one that I've had, the yarn that I've had the longest. And this is my next cast on for a sweater project. I'm going to start it any day, honestly. I'm just kind of waiting a little bit. I'm not sure why. But I have 15 balls of this Knit Picks Swish DK. And this is in the Lemongrass Heather colorway. They're 50-gram balls, so I have 750 grams total. And I think originally my plan for this was to knit, it was called the Portage Cardigan, I think. I can't remember the designer, but like my friend has one. It's really pretty. It is like a long cardigan with big pockets down the sides, and it has a really simple like lace yarn over pattern kind of along the back, like by the shoulder blades. It might go down the whole back. And that was something that was really my style a few years ago, and since then that's not really my style currently. So I never ended up knitting anything with the Swish DK, but my plan now is to knit a cozy classic raglan. That's patterned by Jessie May of Jessie May Designs. and I think it's going to be perfect for that. This is, yeah, just a DK superwash yarn, so it's nice and soft, and I have enough of it that I'm not going to be constrained by sizing, because I do want it to be kind of like a comfy, oversized, almost like something that I'm wearing right now. So that's my plan for that. So I have a ton of this, and this is my next cast on for sweaters. And I think I'm gonna have to get myself a bucket bag to fit all of this yarn in, because I don't actually have one of my own big bucket bags that I sell in the shop yet. And this might be the project that really pushes me to get one, because there's a lot of yarn. So that's the first thing I want to do. And then I think this is brand new to my stash, but I think this is going to be the next sweater that I knit after that. So I got a gift card from my in-laws, which was super nice. And it was to the Little Red Mitten yarn shop, which is a yarn shop in St. Thomas, Ontario. I got one other thing in the order other than this yarn, but I'll show that next week on like my regular vlog. But I got one of their cones of the Holst Garn Superstock. And this is like two 50-gram balls of the Holst Garn Super Soft. So this is the equivalent, I think, of 10 of these balls. I think it's 500 grams. There's no yardage on the big cone, but the little ones say 314 yards to 50 grams. And so I got this, and my plan for it is to make a halibut sweater, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter from Boylan Knitworks. And she released this maybe in the fall, and I just fell in love with it, and I bought the pattern immediately. And so it's a black or dark sweater with light color work, and it's halibut fish going all down. Either way, I'll try and put a picture in here so you can see it, but that is my plan for that. Now that sweater called for Kelburn Woolen Scout, which the Little Red Mitten actually did stock, but I realized that because that cone of super soft is such a good value, if I hold this Holst Garn double, it looks like it's going to be perfect gauge for like a replacement for the Kelburn Woolen Scout. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to have to check my gauge and make sure that, you know, what I think is going to work is actually going to work. And then the other thing I'm going to have to do is with this cone, I'm going to have to get my ball winder and wind off portions of it so that I can hold it double. You know, with like something like this, I would just pull the one strand from the outside and then find the one strand from the inside to hold it double. But I won't be able to do that with the cone. So that's, you know, it's not annoying, but it's something. And yeah, I'm really excited about that sweater. I don't know why. It's not exactly my style to have like big fish designs on a yoke of a sweater. But I just, I'm really into it. So yeah, so that's going to be coming. That's probably the next thing I'll cast on after the Cozy Classic Raglan. And then this one I talked about in my last vlog episode, so I'll just talk about this quickly. I got this, these two like mega balls of Lion Brand Woolies yarn, and it's in like a tweed. I got it on sale, and I'm going to make a Winston sweater by Jane Richmond. So they're like 12-ounce balls. They have 340 grams, and they are 212 yards in each ball. So this will do a sweater for me. Just chunky, oversized, and really, really affordable yarn. That's the thing I'm excited about with that, is it's just going to be an affordable, super quick knit because it's super bulky, and a sweater that I can wear out in the garden and not stress, and it can actually go in the washer and dryer if I need to. So that's the third thing I want to knit. And then the fourth sweater I have planned is a Junction sweater by Andrea Mowry. So it's a color work all the way through. I was going to say it's a yoked sweater, but it has color work all the way through. And I think the yoke up here is brioche. And then the rest of the sweater, there's just like these little kind of like pops of color going through the body and the arms of the sweater. I really want to make one, and it's one of those ones where you're supposed to use spin cycle yarn, but I'm going to use my hand spun. So I'm really excited about trying this out. I think this yarn's going to be perfect. So this is like a merino yarn. I don't have a lot of info on it. I don't even have the yardage or anything, but I think I got this in like a fiber share package, and it just has ever so slight like tones of pink and dark and light in there. Otherwise it's going to be sort of a tonal yarn. I think it might stripe a little bit, but I thought that this would be a really cool way to use my hand spun. The spin cycle yarn kind of mimics hand spun, and I think this will look really beautiful going through the sweater. And then I also have this Knit Picks Hawthorn in a 2-ply that I think should be a pretty good match weight-wise for the color work. And I think the colors are really going to pop against each other too. So it's really, really dark blue, almost black tonal yarn. So this is the Midwinter Kettle Dye in the Hawthorn, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, it's an 80% superwash, 20% polyamide, and I think these are going to look really beautiful together. I have 4 skeins of this and 1 skein of this to do the color work. But these are totally my colors, right? This isn't going to be like a stretch for me. And I think that'll be an enjoyable knit, but it's going to be a process to go through because brioche is not my biggest strength. I haven't done a ton of brioche and never on a sweater, you know, and like, so making mistakes and then trying to fix them in brioche is always really stressful for me. But it's only on this top part, so I think I'll be able to do it, and I think it's gonna be really beautiful. So those are my 4 sweater projects that I have planned so far. The other sweater project I have is not even yarn yet. I have this like thought in mind of spinning an entire sweater quantity and knitting it. If anyone watches Andrea Mowry Friday videos, they're really inspiring because she is getting into spinning pretty hard and like will spin a sweater quantity and knit a sweater out of it, which I'm always really impressed with people who will commit to doing that. But a while ago someone gave me like a pound, I think it is, like it's this big bag of Icelandic wool and it's brown. So I didn't pull it out because it's just chocolate brown wool, so I didn't even bring it out to show you, but I'm thinking about maybe trying to spin that into like a worsted weight and knitting another Nurtured, which is an Andrea Mowry pattern, just because she was talking about how it's pretty forgiving for like the pattern is pretty forgiving for someone who's not spinning super consistently, and I haven't been spinning very much lately. You can see my wheel back here and it is literally like covered in dust because I haven't used it in so long. So I don't know how consistent I'll be, but that's kind of like a long-term challenge that may or may not get done this year, is spin this sweater quantity of Icelandic wool and then knit myself a Nurtured sweater out of it. So that's a big goal, but we'll see. It's been on my mind for a couple years now. I've had the yarn for the fiber. I've had the fiber for a bit, so we'll see if that happens. The other thing I was thinking about knitting with hand spun are the Curio socks by Andrea Mowry. So that is like a newer pattern for her that she uses like a non-superwash fingering weight and then a hand spun yarn and makes these really cool colorwork socks. She did like a knit along with that pattern around Thanksgiving, I think, American Thanksgiving. And I can't commit to knitting a pair of socks in, 5 days or whatever it is, but I was really intrigued by it, and I think I have some yarn ideas for that too. And then I would like to make some thrummed mittens. I haven't made any of those for a while. If you don't know, thrummed mittens are knit a pair of kind of oversized mittens, and then you insert these little, they're called thrums, and they're these little bits of roving that you kind of tease out and turn into like a little butterfly shape. And then you knit that in with the stitch. And eventually it kind of fills up the inside with all this extra wool roving insulation, which is going to kind of felt and shape to your hands as you wear the mittens. They're very cool. I think they're a very Eastern Canadian thing. I might be wrong on that. If you're familiar with these thrum mittens, let me know. And if they're traditional in your area as well. I've made them before, but I haven't made them in a few years, and I think I actually have some thrums pulled and made already somewhere. So those won't take long. It's just one of those things that I might be more likely to do it if I write it down. I would like to start my Breathe and Hope shawl. I only made 1 shawl last year, and I have plans to start this Breathe and Hope shawl by Casa Pinka. And I'm wondering how many shawls a single person, like a single human being, needs. Because I probably have enough back there, but I do like knitting shawls, and I'm kind of feeling like I haven't knit any recently. I knit that one last year. I think I already said that, but and that was it for the entire year. So I I'm definitely gonna knit the Breathe and Hope shawl because I have yarn pulled for it. I think it's gonna be a really beautiful combo and a little different maybe from what I have up on the wall behind me already. Other than that, I don't have any other shawl plans. I would like to knit another tee, like some sort of t-shirt. I knit this summer sorrel tee. I really love that fabric and that look. I have 2 skeins of black fingering weight that I could use. So I was thinking about making another sorrel out of that. I know I would wear the black for sure, even though it's going to be a pain to knit. It'll be something I actually wear because I really like wearing black and grays and dark colors. The other thing I had in mind was knitting a So Faded sweater pattern, but doing that as a tee, maybe with some leftover yarns. The Sea Glass tee is another pattern. It's by Woolen Pine, and I think they've just come out with like a worsted weight version of that as well, like a sea glass sweater. That one's really beautiful. So yeah, one more tee because I really like, they're just like a dressier t-shirt, you know, which is like not something I have in my wardrobe. So that's on the list. And then the other thing is just knit about 12 pairs of socks. So this isn't really hard for me to do. I like knitting socks. They're my mindless, like don't have to think about it project. And I usually knit about on average 12 pairs a year. So I just kind of write that down every year and I know I'm going to do it. I think last year I knit 12 pairs of regular socks and maybe a couple pairs of slipper socks or something as well. The thing I would like to do though is to knit some more pattern socks, because I think what I do is I just grab some yarn and then I cast on, and then, you know, I'm looking for some mindless knitting, so I don't even think about what I'm going to do for a cuff or a heel or a pattern on it. I just start knitting my vanilla pattern that I have memorized. So that's kind of going to go along with that. So 12 pairs of socks, but maybe some more, change up some patterns, maybe try some different heels, or just add some patterned socks to my box of socks, because a lot of them are just plain stockinette, which is fine, but I could be like doing something a little different instead of just knitting a dozen of the same pairs of socks every year. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That is all I wanted to talk about. Hopefully I didn't like slump down too much as I was recording here. I'm sitting in an office chair and it's just not very comfortable. Yeah, I gotta sort something out in here. We moved the couch that normally sits here out into the living room. So we have 2 couches out there right now, and I'm just trying to decide whether I want to move it back in here or not, or if I want to get a comfy chair. I'll get into that another day. I had a request for a craft room tour on last week's video, and that is something I've been meaning to do, so I thought maybe I could combine it with like a cleanup and kind of rearrange, and the big couch decision. You know, that can maybe kind of all come together into one video. Other than that, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you gained some inspiration for, you know, your own projects and goals that you have for 2022. And please let me know down below, yeah, what those plans are, if you have special plans or just anything. Just drop me a line down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe if you enjoy the content that I've been putting out. I am getting very close to 3,000 followers on the channel, which is really exciting. So I think I'll have to do a giveaway or something when I hit 3,000, but it's getting really close. So, you know, if even just a few more of you will subscribe to the channel, then I will probably hit that milestone soon. So just wanted to throw that out there. I don't always remember to say that. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I will be back probably next week with a kind of vlog and roundup on some projects that I've been doing, and maybe I'll have one of my sweaters cast on by then. Who knows? Either way, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a bit today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.